Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of musical mayhem and your agent of animated awesome. Today we have an unusual movie, one of the biggest flops ever, because it was had a budget of $8 million and only made about $37,000 on its release, but has since, in 1983, that is, has since become what you could legitimately call uh, a cult fan favorite, I guess. It was a staple on early cable television in the mid 80s and maybe into the 90s. I've seen it a total of 2.5 times. We are talking about 1983's Rock and Rule, which has got a very interesting backstory to it. And it's a pretty interesting and I think a pretty good music V. Yes, that's what I meant to call it, a music V. But it's the story is pretty basic, but we'll get into that. And before we get into it too much, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know if you've seen this movie. Let me know what you think of this movie. This should be a 7-song Friday, but the songs here, there's only about 4 good ones, and we don't get a lot of votes anyway, so I'm just going to kind of drop that one. But there are 10 songs. 10? Let me scroll back down here. Soundtrack has 11 songs, although one of them is a finale to the first. 2 of them are kind of together. So, having said all of that, let's rock and roll.
Rock and rule. Good band, hot music.
So that's the opening to the trailer, and it's partially correct. Rock and Rule was released. It's a Nelvana Films production. You may know them from the people. They were a Canadian. Well, they're still available. They're still available. They're still in business out of Canada. They did things such. They did a lot of things, but most people would know them from, say, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, and um, what was the other? Oh, they did a little thing called the something about a Wookiee in the Star Wars Holiday Special. So they animated Boba Fett first. In fact, and a lot of their voices from have cross pollinated. Anyway, so we get the opening scrolling. Now this was added to the U.S. cut, which is 5 minutes shorter than the Canadian cut. So there's a lot more swearing in the Canadian cut, or I guess that's the original. And they let's see what is, and it has a lot of. It's just slightly different. There's just a different voice. It's got clearer audio, which would be nice because some of the music in here is hard to understand. And the movie's rated PG. It was released in the United States on April 15th, 1983, and August 12th in Canada. And you can get both versions now, I believe, on DVD or perhaps Blu-ray. I liked the movie. I don't know if I liked it enough to get it. So this is The War Was Over, post-apocalyptic dogs, cats, and rats. They're not there's probably bugs, and not all of the cats are mutants, or not all of these animals are mutants, but because there's plenty of real cats and rats shown in there. And I guess, so, I mean, what did they eat? There have to be other animals left, right? Right? Anyway, so now we have Mock, the legendary super rocker, and then not sure what he wants to unlock these world, but he needs a very special voice. So the voice is the MacGuffin, and of course, there's our Mock's bodyguards, the uh, triplet brothers, Dizzy and Zip, and Toad, Sleazy. Kind of hard to tell them apart. This is the oldest one, I would assume. I thought they were triplets. Maybe they're not. There's the computer that Mock talks to, and Samantha Langevin was the voice. And then they go to the talent night, in Mylar's talent night. And there's our voice. Well, I mean, if you couldn't figure that out, that's Susan Roman as Angel. Susan would later on be a voice in. Where'd it go? Was she animation, video game, live action? I was looking for television. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Hannah Dundee. We will be reviewing Cadillacs and Dinosaurs because I love the show. Sadly, it's only 13 episodes, but. And there's her. I don't know if it's her boyfriend, not they or not. They seem to be into each other, except that he's a moron and he's a jerk. So, and Omar is voiced by in the United States. Omar was voiced by Paul Lamont and Greg Salata in Canada. I was trying to see what he was in American Graffiti as John Milner, and then even more American Graffiti, Melvin and Howard, Strange Invaders, and it's the Twilight Zone TV. So he worked. I guess he's all right, but he's an idiot because all he wants to do is play his music. And there's our two morons, the bassist and the drummer. Actually, see, I don't know which one of their voices, what their names are anymore. Maybe Dizzy and Zip. I don't know, but Zip's kind of a shaggy sort of guy playing a video game. There's Mylar, the rodent, and now we're rocking out. I got this copy from they have both copies of the Canadian version and the U.S. cut on the Internet Archive. Did not watch the Canadian version. It's sourced from a VHS tape or a videotape because everything else got destroyed. Good thinking, guys. Probably beyond their control. Angel wants to sing one of her songs. Omar is reluctant, but she does. And there we have Mock's eyes while Mylar sleazes up to him. But his ring indicates that, she's the voice. And she's all upset because Omar left because I'm sorry. Maybe stupid, but I'm not dumb. Mock invites him up for a spell because they're making out in the car. So there's some juvenilia in her, amateur. No, I just some. So it's filled with sex. I mean PG sex, but and cartoon PG sex. So I guess you get away with a little more. Lots of drug use. I left most of that out because it's just the rock and roll business. Omar thinks he's too cool to go up there and meet with a superstar because he's independent and wants to stay that way. But of course, he's first one just throws his principles right under the bus. He thinks one of the brothers is Mock, calls him a freak, but he wants to talk vinyl. So even in the far future, vinyl's still a thing. Go figure. And now we're introduced to Mock. And he's also, aside from having a Tim Curry vibe, and Tim Curry and David Bowie were look to try to get voices for him, but they were too expensive. Now the musical cast is great. Songs are just there's a couple of good ones if you could understand it. It's very fuzzy, which I thought there was something in here about it, but they tried to get it says they tried to get Michael Jackson even to be in here, which I think probably wouldn't have worked very well. He wouldn't have wanted to play a bad guy even back then. And let's see, there are some the computer has got some computer graphics, so it's a beautiful movie. There's our three brothers who are kind of stupid. And yes, Don Franks, who was the voice of the original Boba Fett, is Mock. Now, they tried to get some other people, but they were up in Canada and couldn't afford them, even on a budget of $8 million. So see what I mean by beautiful? So Mock is trying to seduce Angel away from her band and goes through all this stuff. You can see there's some computer graphics here. there, and then he just kidnaps her, sends the boys back to there drugs them with some hologram videos or holo videos or something, sends them back to hometown in their jalopy, and they run into this police officer who has a name that Quadhole maybe, but they steal his car and off they go to Nuke York. So, and there's again beautiful. A lot of this is rotoscoped. The characters are rotoscoped. They have models that they used, credits for them. It's similar to Fire and Ice, and it's similar in that it's just not as memorable as it. Not to me. Now I didn't see this till probably 85 or 86 on television. I didn't watch it all. I must have rented it at one point recently in the last 20 years, and today, and then when I watched it. So again, I don't know what I'd have thought of it in '83, but I'd like to have seen it because it's got rock and roll and rebellion, and Debbie Harry is the singing voice of Angel, Robin Zander of Cheap Trick is the singing voice of Omar, and the singing voice of Mock is both Lou Reed and Iggy Pop. Not at the same time, but not the two worst combinations you could have. So they steal this police officer's car. So that's the second one. And there's Radio City Music Hall. And there's Cindy. There's the brother's little sister who's got a tattoo on her butt. And she kidnaps or liberates Angel to go out on the town. And I forget why Mock's doing his supervillain pose. And the computer says that nothing can stop him summoning the demon with that voice. The magic of one voice, one heart, one song. No one can send it back. No one. So remember, it shows up in the second act. It's going to show up in the final act. There's his legal department. I thought that was funny. Look at this. Just not really. I mean, how far up are these things? There's a city. So there's Catherine O'Hara as Aunt Edith, who's Dizzy's aunt, a tattoo artist. I don't know who the sleaze is here, but they're in Nuke York, and he's still denying that he has any feelings for Angel, but he wants to get her. There's the Winged Heart to find the woman with that, and now Cindy there talks like she's from the Bronx. Gives me a real pre Harley Quinn vibe, and I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but she's funny and she's brash and kind of crazy. So, like Harley, this guy just melted into place. We don't even know what happened to him. He got thrown out. So now we get the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, which is pretty much a funky jam called Dance, Dance, Dance. I mean, how many movies or songs are called that? So I should forget before I get too much further in.
The best of times. It could have lasted forever.
So that Mock hires this interesting person to pretend to be Angel, and that sends old Omar, because he's stupid. Did I say he was a moron? He's like, and he actually says, "All work and no play make Mock." I don't remember what the actual quote is, but I'm gonna make him say what Homer does: something, something, go crazy. Don't mind if I do. So here, they're also, aside from being dimwits, they're also the sound crew and technicians, and they can work all that. I like their either Captain Marvel or Jay Garrick Flash shirts that they have on. So he's torturing the guys, and then sends them back to hometown. Unfortunately, and now they don't have their brains anymore. They've been befuddled or confuddled. But the boys might have escaped from New York. I like the Carnage Hall. Carnage reminds me. That look reminds me of Carnage. But unfortunately, they didn't have enough power to summon the demon. And they have a bunch of this, zap, zap. And Lou Reed sings, "My name is Mock. My name is Mock." And off they go back to hometown after the computer says, "You got to go." They have power there. And the poor schlub here has Captain or Uncle Mike or somebody that he watches on television who says, you should be good and not bad. And then, of course, remember, this comes into play here. So Angel tries to seduce him and say, let's leave and run away. And he says, we can go to Fiji, Disneyland, Fantasy Island. Oh, that's funny. But finds out, and he's like, I don't care if she's the voice or not. She pissed me off. So Mock has a lot of wigs and things. Omar and the Daycares, the new band, they're singing Shiny Happy People or something. What's this one called? Angel Song. Probably, Om Sweet Om, I would think it was. Because it's not Born to Raise Hell or I'm the Man. All the songs were written for the movie. And then Mock calls Mylar, says, hey, I need a show. So he just ditches him immediately. So she's drugged and singing. And, a pentagram. Who could it be summoning? I just couldn't think. But unfortunately, the lightning zaps our boys, our pseudo heroes, and off they go. And there's our officer again, and they steal his car. Again. That's the third one. Gad, it's a running joke. And yeah, I mean, definitely, I did leave out a lot of the sexual stuff and a lot of the, just because, it's not pertinent to the movie, and a lot of the crude humor. I mean, it is PG, would have been PG-13 probably in a year or whenever that useless rating came out. Demons are coming through. There he is. But unfortunately, I like this shot a lot. I mean, so rotoscoping and some very interesting effects. It does remind one of heavy metal, and Nirvana I believe, had something to do with heavy metal, or at least their animators did. But this is a more coherent movie. Heavy metal is a better movie overall-ish, slightly better. We'll get to it. And then one of the brothers dies, which of course it's going to happen. Oh, they were on skates. This is the second Friday movie in a row with roller skates in it. So I like the Batwing here. And Mock's just laughing hilarious. I think he's hysterical by now, and he's crazy. But Angel's come out of her drug stupor and is trying to sing the demon back down. And will she do it in time? Will they figure out
Rock and rule. Bringing you head to head with a beast for the feast. Songs by Lou Reed and Iggy Pop. The Beat. Songs by Cheap Trick and Earth, Wind and Fire.
So, but Omar either gets it, even though they didn't even tell her what the prophecy was that the computer said. That would have been something to have earlier in the movie, so that they put it together. Omar just starts singing with her, which is the Debbie Harry, and they're singing "Send Love Through." So they force it back down in there. We knew what was going to happen here. This guy's pissed at Mock. His underling is no longer his underling, and I wish I remembered what Bane. I will break you, but he throws him into the thing, and down he goes, and that's it. And that is the end of the movie. So I put in some of these here. Who wrote the songs? Written by Chris Stein and Debbie Harry, of course, and you can see that Clem Burke did some drums on them. So a fair, Chris. So it was just the three of them. Now Blondie had broken up by now, so that would be why there. And then Send Love Through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get to play with Rick Nielsen. No, Pain and Suffering written by Iggy Pop. And Chris Stein produced a lot of this, it looks like. My name is Mock. Let's see. So, written lead vocals, because Lou Reed at this point in time had a big hit with I Love You, Suzanne. So he was kind of riding high in the pop territory, pop rock, and people knew who he was finally. And then those are all written, of course, by Rick Nielsen. And then Dance Dance Dance, Earth, Wind and Fire has got a gazillion people in the band. And then Hot Dogs and Sushi, that's the one song from the Canadian artist Melanie Brown, who goes by a couple of different names these days. But it's a pleasant little, weird little song. And that's it. There's no like end title or end credits or anything. It's just that's in the show. All right, yes, you'll see the trailer here momentarily, but that is our musical Friday. And until our next assignment, agents, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. Rock and roll.
Rock and rule. Good band, hot music, the best of times. It could have lasted forever. Rock and rule. Journey to a world where the cosmic forces of music, magic, and technology collide, bringing you head to head with a beast from another dimension. The Beauty, songs by Deborah Harry. The Beast, songs by Lou Reed and Iggy Pop. The Beat, songs by Cheap Trick and Earth, Wind and Fire. Love and rock and roll.